You're listening to New England Real Estate Journal Radio with Rick Kaplan, New England's source for commercial real estate news. This is New England Real Estate Journal Radio on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
Welcome to the New England Real Estate Journal Radio Show. I'm Rick Kaplan with Eric Wilson, and we have in the studio with us today is Michael Burns and Santo Dettore of Hobbs Brook Management, and we'll be talking to them in our next segment. Good morning,
guys. Thanks for joining us.
And Eric.
Thank you.
And Eric, we are going to talk a little bit about what happened last week.
Yeah, the sun.
If anything happened.
Yes, a lot of snow melt.
Did there?
Yes,
no,
there
I think
was.
that's this week.
There was last week too. We
Yeah.
lost a lot on Thursday, Friday last week. But anyway, besides that, yeah, we had we're getting basically just planning for big events coming up.
Lots of big events.
And as well as the IRM booklet. That's pretty much what I've been working on. We do a quarterly booklet for the Institute of Real Estate Management that goes out. So I've been collecting all the news for this month and putting that together. But mostly working on the April 23rd event up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire with you, trying to get the cocktails and conversations ready to go.
Yeah, we have that's Cocktails and Conversations, the second annual.
Yep.
April 23rd at the Portsmouth event. I don't know what they call that room. It's an event conference room or whatever. It's in the back of the Residence Inn Hotel.
What are you giving them directions, Rick?
Yeah, well,
walk in the back room.
You can pay at the door.
Nice.
But no, it's always a great event.
It should be.
Actually,
last year was huge.
Last year was a big event.
It
for
was.
us. This year it's going to be just as big or even bigger. So that's also a very good event. We also have the HELP conference coming up.
Yep, 14th and 15th of April.
Actually, the 13th and the 14th
I
at
lied.
the Seaport Waterfront Hotel in Boston. That is enormous.
That's always big. All the big hotel. They call them hoteliers.
Hoteliers.
Yeah,
Never heard of that.
Making up my own words. Hotel management. There's a lot of them that come in. There's like 400 to 500 people flown in from all over the country for 2-day all events and extended education on hotel management.
Right, and we'll be doing our show from that event.
Right.
At the Seaport
Third.
Hotel.
This is our third annual.
That's right.
Show from that event.
And you know they're going to have some of the panels that they're going to have discussions will be for the marathon, not the marathon, the Olympics.
Right.
That we'll have some of those people.
Well, right, because there's such certain criteria. You have to have a certain amount of rooms available in hotel space for to host something like that.
We also have June 4th, Connecticut Business Expo by the Hartford Business Journal. We'll be doing our show from there as well. June 17th at the Boston Convention Center. NEBFM.
I know. It seems so far away, but it's going to be right around the corner before you know it. When you talk about June, you still see snow out here. It's hard to fathom, but before we know it, snow will be gone and be like,
well, we'll bring it a little
June
more
14th.
current to the IRM March Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah, next week. That's going to be huge. That's a big turnout
March
for all the
19th.
real estate managers. We get to tour the Anheuser-Busch facility, and then you get to go back, and they do serve Stella, which is a huge bonus for me, and that's why I like to attend that.
But we also have April 7th and 8th, the conference for the MedEd facilities.
Right, the MedEd facilities. And we just
that's at the Seaport Hotel in Boston as well.
Right, and they just had last week, sorry, I should have mentioned, the Nessie. The Nessie show was last week. Big turnout, I heard, and fantastic job. Andy McAvoy and John Picard, our president, they manned the booth. But they said it was a great show, another great event based on, sustainable energy, which we'll talk a little bit later here today, too, as well. It seems to be as the push continues. I thought a lot of people thought that the green movement would flatten out, but obviously it hasn't. It's, still at the forefront of what we're trying to push.
It's funny. I was reading something about.
Well,
I know that's funny.
I was going to say,
every time I say that, I catch
It is funny because you read.
Funny that I was reading. I can't use those two together. But there was a article about the euro or the dollar value in Europe dropping, and that the value of the hotels in this country has just gone up because of that.
Because of the dollar drops.
Some of the money coming into this country, I guess that brings more money, or investors putting more money into this country.
Well, that's good news.
It's always good. Something like that.
It's always good news, but that's kind of something cool to look into. Is the value dropping somewhere else and increasing somewhere else.
Yeah.
Keeping the balance, the American dollar. I just branded that for you guys. You can use it.
That's.
I didn't
very
trademark that.
knowledgeable, Eric. we all learned something today.
And you know what? They say it's a wasted day if you don't learn something new, Rick.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm here as your mentor and teacher.
Well, one of the things that's going to happen today, it's going to be almost 60 degrees.
Yeah. I can feel the
We're
sweat
recording
inside.
this on Wednesday, so it's going to be about 60 degrees. So you know what happens when it turns 60 degrees.
People smile.
Eric takes a half day, and now he's out frisbee golfing.
Yeah, I know. It's the first day of the year. It's going to be high enough, and I will be taking the afternoon off going disc golfing. And it's not frisbee golf; it's disc golfing. Rick.
Yeah, frisbee.
Know the
disc, same
term.
thing.
But yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to go play up at Devon's.
I call it club golfing or golf. Golfing.
We call that ball golf. In the disc
ball
golf
golf.
game, it's called ball golf and
Yeah.
disc golf.
See, different terms.
Same sport, pretty much just different tools to
That's
do
right.
it.
Well, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk with Michael Burns and Santo Dettore, and we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
The next level in commercial real estate. This is New England Real Estate Radio on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
Commercial real estate can be a risky endeavor if you don't have all the information you need to make an educated decision. Why spend time digging for data when CompStack provides investors, lenders, and landlords accurate lease comps for office, industrial, and retail properties, starting rents, concessions, and more in just a few clicks? The world's largest investors and lenders use CompStack to benchmark their properties and underwrite their deals. Shouldn't you? CompStack. Better data, better deals. Visit getleasecomps.com today.
Rick Kaplan on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with Eric Wilson, and we have in the studio with us, and we'll be interviewing in this segment, is Michael Burns and Santo Dettore of Hobbs Brook Management. And we'll be talking a little bit about what that company is. But before we get into that, I want to thank some of our sponsors for the show, which is the Procon Construction, the City of Marlborough, Mass., the City of Hartford, Connecticut, the City of Rochester, New Hampshire, CompStack, and Video Doorman. Thank you for being sponsors. And now we want to find out a little bit about what Hobbs Brook Management is all about and what they do.
It's basically it's a commercial real estate development company that was formed in 1977. It's a wholly owned subsidiary of a big insurance company, and it started out, and back in the day it was a home headquarters for this insurance company, and then with the land they had, they started to develop it into office buildings for rent. Basically, we've never sold a building. We built to hold, and part of that is putting a little bit more money into our offices buildings as an asset for the insurance company.
So you own all your property. How many properties is under the Hobbs Brook Management?
We've got a property in Wakefield, Waltham, Norwood, Park Ridge, Illinois.
Oh, wow.
There's a test facility, yeah.
That was kind of out of left field. As you named like the
Yeah.
I-95 belt, and you're like, oh, by the way, Illinois.
Yeah, and I think
we've got
Georgia, I
some-
saw you had properties.
Yeah, it's 27 buildings in total, and it's right around 5 million square feet.
And it's mainly commercial office.
With the exception of one hotel, it's all commercial office.
I saw that. You have the hotel in Norwood.
4 Point Sheridan down in Norwood on Route 1.
Now, did you
Oh, no
just
way.
acquire-
I love
did
that
you
place.
Just acquire that? No?
Had that for a long time. Basically, been back with part of our insurance company is we have an engineering division that will go out and inspect buildings for potential losses. It was a training facility, and that hotel was built to house the young engineers coming into the company while they were being trained there. They would stay there. So after, as that developed, then we brought it back in, and it got branded into 4 Point Sheridan.
And so it wasn't always the Sheridan.
No, I think it's changed maybe a couple times over the
No,
years. It's been
because
there for a long time.
for some reason I thought it was some other type of hotel.
Long
It's
time
changed
ago,
a couple times.
Yeah.
But it's probably 15 years I've known it. It's been 4 Point.
We have a lot of commercial real estate events that are held there. A lot of
Right.
associations run events in the back left wing.
Yeah, we love to hear that.
Yeah, that's why I was saying I love that. I go
Yeah.
there. I'm there at least 3 times a year for some associations. I know NEMA runs their awards out of there. I've been
Actually,
to a
last year we were there for the that marathon.
Rob Sedoya.
Yeah.
We went there for a Service Master by Gilmore put on a big, I don't want to say black tie, but a big.
No, but it was a big event.
Yeah, big event for music. Great time.
In the main ballroom.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a great
It's
spot,
impressive.
right? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
huge. It's really nice.
And the food was very good.
Always, they do a good job.
Yeah.
Wedding season's coming up. A lot of weddings there.
I can imagine.
Well, we don't want to talk about that.
Easy, Rick. He's like, I hate love. Okay, guys, I just hate it. I hate it.
No, I don't
but that's
mind
really
love.
cool.
I don't, the marriage thing, that's. I'm done with that.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Let's get
talk
back to
about
hotels.
let's talk about Hobbs Brooks Management. And you guys, do you build any buildings from the ground floor? Did you buy land and build up, or is it just land that you guys have already owned through the insurance company?
Right now, it's land we've already owned previously, and we'll redevelop the site. Right now, we're redeveloping 275 Wyman Street. It was an old building that it kind of served its useful life. It was very inefficient for the new space plans that we're seeing today. Companies want wide open. This building wasn't wide open. It was kind of had a big atrium in it, 3 floors. It was nice, but we couldn't rent it. So
Right.
we knocked that down, and now we're building a brand new building there with a 5-story parking garage.
And is it built to fit? Do you already have someone that's lessee that's ready to has an idea of what they want?
Yeah, so we've leased the entire space to Vistaprint.
Okay.
They're the business card company. So
Yeah,
their
we
headquarters are currently in Lexington, in a building that we own, and they're going to move over into about 300,000 square feet at 275 Wyman.
Wow.
As of
And that's
July
in Waltham,
1st, yeah.
correct?
Yes.
Waltham's Wyman, I believe.
Yes.
Wyman Street.
I was going to ask the same thing.
You know what's funny little tidbit? I was actually writing up one of my clients today, and I remember seeing Wyman Street is where they are, and I saw Waltham, so I put 2 and 2 together and it came up with 4. Pretty
Very-
good, right?
very
That's how you
good.
do math.
He's like a detective.
I try to be. So then we know that do you have land that's undeveloped as of right now? Is there land that you guys have in the portfolio that's not being used yet?
Yes, we have one. I'm sorry, again.
No, I think the only place that I know of is Shattuck Road, right up in Andover.
Yeah, we own the road. We own that, but
We
also
don't
have-
own the parcel behind it.
I don't believe so, but we do own. There's a lot that's designed over at 95, which would be
Behind it, yeah.
behind it, which would be our next step after 275, if that's the way it goes.
That's in that Lexington, right on Route 2 and 95, where they meet. There's a 95 Hayden, and there's also a lot behind it that we have the rights to develop.
We say
on top.
we're 95 and what meet?
Route 2.
We're not exit by 30?
Yeah.
Like 30, 31, whatever it is?
Exactly.
Nice. I take that today when I go disc golfing later, Rick.
Oh.
On my way out to Devon's. You take Route 2. That's cool. That's a good spot right there, too. That's very highly traffic. My question is, do you have specific companies that do you guys both work on the construction side, not the leasing side?
Correct.
Right. So you deal with companies after they're already ready to lease and then build as fit? Or, are you just renovating for construction if you only have one land left and most of your buildings are up, correct?
Yes.
So I think it can be a combination of both. I think that when we leased with Vistaprint, they needed a lot of upfront, reassurance that the space that we were going to build and design for them was what they wanted. When it's
Right.
build to suit, the construction teams, the architects that we hire, and the leasing teams are an integral part of signing that lease. In the lease, there's all the specifications of what the building's going to look like, what kind of systems are going to be in there, even is down to the carpet and the design. Vistaprint has to be okay with that before they're going to sign, a 10, 12-year lease.
Right.
Whereas a project that we've done in the past, like 175 Wyman Street, right down the street, that was built purely on speculation. And so we didn't have a tenant before we built it. And the design and on the construction side was completely independent of any tenant or leasing input.
No, well, let me ask a question because I want to make sure that I
That you're
understand-
heard?
Well, that I understand fully. Yeah. Hobbs Brook Management is a property owner, an insurance company,
Subsidiary of an insurance
a
company.
subsidiary of an insurance company, leasing agents for the properties, and a construction company.
So we hire general contractors. We have
Okay.
a construction team. Mike and I are on the development and construction team. And we hire general contractors to
So you are like a project management of the
that the division that we're in for construction would be the project management arm of it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because this sounds like there's so many things going on here that I just want to make it clear, that these are the things that your company really does.
No, of course. Mike always tells me that we're the center and the quarterback of the whole project happening. It's the brokers come to us, the tenants come to us, the contractors come to us, and we're sort of the center of the wheel where everything comes out from, to make the building happen, to make the deals happen, and to give someone a Class A office space to work in.
I have a question on the design portion. So you say you have an office that you're about to build on speculations. And now, do you take what the current market needs are, or do you strictly go through what the architect thinks is going to be the hot new look, or what do you do for something you don't have leased, but you want to build office spaces?
I think we look at the market first. I think we take what we hear from our brokers. What is the next upcoming trend. Most of it's been the wide open floor plan,
the tech space.
The tech space. With the more collaborative space we've been looking at lately. So in order to do that, we need to make things wide open. We need to expand our steel distances so there's not columns everywhere. Even you look at some of these high tech companies and the CEO's in a cube because he wants to be with his company. So gone are the days where it was more the financial, where there was all offices and the people sat in the middle. It's wide open from window to window. Part of the lead is letting natural light in. So we're trying not to block those windows off, so that we can let some sunlight in. It's good for everybody. They're more productive if they feel comfortable in their space. It's not dark and they're not isolated. So that's basically what we've been doing lately. And you see a lot of the European furniture is coming in with there's cubes, but there's nothing between them, so that you can talk to that guy right there. And a lot of them will have whiteboards that are clear glass where they'll be able to write things down if someone's on the phone. It's constant communication.
Almost looking like the show from like Bones when they write on like the glass and like both sides can
right.
The Dettore shows.
And that we've had Siemens on the North America, the president for North America. Talking about how that's how they want all their offices. And that came from the European model. Yeah. So now they're spreading it throughout this whole country.
Well, I think the millennials have a big push on it, too. They love the collaboration. It's, that's just typically how we like to work as teams. You raise as teams. Is just kind of how you are. I would say the big thing is it kind of all reminds me of police stations. Like if you go into offices, the
cells.
No, I mean like the middle is wide open. Like they don't have cubicles; they have partners, so their desks are wide open. All the desks in the middle are wide open. The only person that has an office is usually your captain or people that need to do interrogations. That's it, right? Like if you actually watch a show, you never see anybody sitting in an office.
We don't really know about that, Eric, because we probably didn't spend as much time in
TV shows. I have TV shows. If any of you guys watch TV shows with cops,
that's where you
Law
learned
and Order. Only guy was Jack. What was his name? Jack.
I don't know.
None of you guys watch Law and Order?
Is that show on TV?
Jack McCoy, by the way, was his name. Jack McCoy was the only one that would come. He was the DA, come out of his office, and everybody else would be in these wide open cubicles, and he'd tell the job, and 12 people we work.
I don't watch that show because it's on 150 stations every hour.
Probably it is, but I just mean I think a lot of the offices are that way. You only need an office if you need to make a private call or have a private conversation.
Right. The privacy is not there anymore for office space.
But we also had a guest on who does sound control. Acoustics. So you could have two people sitting across the desk from each other. One person could be on the phone and they couldn't hear it. Do you guys take that into consideration with your designs as well? Things like that.
Sound masking is a huge component of what new companies like, because it really adds an element of, just like you said, even across a desk, these little speakers inside of ceiling tiles, they create this white noise, sort of like a noise canceling headphone, where the white noise blocks the sound traveling across a hallway. So you can be down the hallway and it sounds very, very quiet, very calm office. It doesn't sound bustling, but people are working at their desks, people are talking, and like you said, it's that proxy for the privacy, because there's always going to be a time when you need to be on the phone and you're not going to be yelling your business to everyone in the hallway. But these sound masking agents really provide that layer of not only from noise disturbance so people can do work, but a layer of privacy.
Well, we've also had, the acoustics as well as the lighting.
Yeah, we've had actually a lot of
The
if you look at
lighting, and that must be a challenge because if you don't know what the tenant's going to be when they're going in, because the lighting itself, they usually customize that for how that office space is going to be used. And same with the acoustics, because if you're having people all over the place, or desks, or
right, how it shines off desks as well.
No, little known fact, Mike Burns is the best electrician this side of the Mississippi, so he's our lighting expert in-house. Anything about lights, electricity, he's our guy and total expert.
Basically, what we would do is if we didn't know, we would just build into a watts per square foot, so that when we designed the panels and everything came out of the switchgear, we'd have enough power to do anything on that floor, and then it would just get distributed because the lights are always changing. Right now, when I was a kid, there's a lot more power being drawn. Now everything's an LED. It's coming way down low voltage, so you can't miss if you just you add a little extra in there.
Right.
Well, like you said, you're also trying to capture as much sunlight as you can as well. So that that affects the way you do lighting and things like that as well.
Even with the lamps that they're coming out with now, they're trying to get a 6,000 Kelvin lamp that's closer to the color of the sun. So
nice.
We were if you remember the old 2x4 fluorescents when we were kids, they were yellow.
Right.
Now they have a color index that is closer to the temp of the sun, so you feel better at your desk, even though you're nowhere near the window.
That's true. They proved that if you're around sunlight more during the day, you feel better about yourself. You feel healthier.
Yes, I can.
That's
totally understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, not just the vitamin D, but it's
and
the fact
just
that
from,
we live in the
fluorescence-
daytime.
Fluorescence, being in an office with all fluorescent lighting.
Yeah.
By the end of the day, your eyes are like burning out.
Yeah.
You feel like you put in a full day's work.
Yeah, it does. It feels like obviously with all the snow, if you've been outside long enough, that reflection that comes up off it, and you're like, man, everything's starting to be grayish. Then you go to see some colors, and you're like, just nothing seems right for at least a while till your eyes adjust.
So a lot goes into putting together these office buildings.
Yeah.
It's a challenge now. But I guess it's actually been made a little easier because of all the new technology. Years ago you'd throw in the fluorescent lights and the plasterboard, and then you're done.
Yeah.
And throw up a few walls.
Yeah.
But now it's not that easy. So someone has to design all that. Is it someone in your office, or you have an outside source?
We would use an architect firm that would come in and design that, and then we would take in input from the tenant. If Santo was the project manager and he was dealing with a certain tenant, we would take what he's learned from them and implement it there, and do things twice. So we kind of try to get a jump on it. But that's what we're trying to do is build an office environment where everyone can be productive. There's no complaints, or you're not going to please everyone, but if you can get to the masses, you're successful.
How did you guys deal with the roofing situation that we just dealt with this last month as being property facility managers? Did you guys have to hire people in to come and shovel all that off and clean it up?
I think that's a twofold answer. Obviously, our facilities guys are on top of it. Whenever there's snow in anywhere that could be, a danger to fall off or to be a danger to our buildings, where our facilities team is top notch. They're on top of it all the time. From the first time it snows to long after, like today when there's all these snowbanks out there. But an interesting thing about all of our buildings is that because of our parent company, the insurance company, they are commercial property insured. That's what they do. That's what they insure. They're not health insurance, not financial insurance. It's commercial property insurance.
So it's the good kind.
Exactly. and so they create this level of standard to build buildings to, and it's sometimes higher than what you would normally see. And so all of our buildings need to be built up to these what I would say are higher standards to building. And so what that means is the roof is to a different specification, so that in a windstorm or in a hurricane, it's not going to be as susceptible to wind. It's going to be able to bear a heavier load. And so building these buildings to this higher quality, these higher standards, allow us, we don't have to worry about roofs caving in as much.
Right.
Because of the work on the front end.
Okay.
Well, I think even though that's a higher standard, I think a lot of property owners this year are going to have to adapt to that, because it was probably very costly for a lot of them. with damage that has been caused because of roofs collapsing or buckling, as well as product and materials that they probably lost, as well as work days.
My other question is on the follow-up. So obviously the front-end work helped you guys not have to worry about or worry as much about the roofs collapsing and things like that. I'm sure it's always in the back of your mind in case. But what about like the snow banks, the snow drifts that are up against your buildings now that, maybe 3-4 feet high? By the time they melt, they may leak into your buildings the same way they leak into streets, the same way they leak into roofs. Is that a concern or?
Yeah, they're always driving around the park looking for places that something may infiltrate. The part of the design of that building is drainage around the perimeter of the footing, so we don't have too many leaks. This year was crazy.
Right, that's what I mean.
You can design anything you want, and we got all that snow.
Yeah,
in
most snow in
100
years.
days.
Yeah, 2 blizzards in 2 weeks.
Exactly,
Like
yeah.
I mean, it's
Right.
very
You know, a lot
very
of unexpected
untypical.
things.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that we're doing on a normal basis would be to make sure those drains are clean in the fall. They're not full of leaves, or there's some culverts that we'll clean out to let the water go. It's natural path away from the building.
Right.
So you need to be
it's,
proactive.
Oh,
on all
absolutely.
of that.
Well, yeah, I just always wondered that because I know you see in the news it's all about the roofs collapsing, but I'm
Yeah.
always thinking about what are the snow that's up against your building? Do people go out and get rid
Well,
of that
look,
as well?
yesterday in the north end, that drain pipe had
Right.
all that ice on it, and it broke off because of the the weather
Yeah.
warming up, and totaled like 4 or 5 cars in the parking lot out there.
Right. Well,
know?
that's why we have insurance.
But
But
we
yeah.
gotta go to break. Hold
All
on
right.
to your
Yeah.
question.
Because I wanted to
gotta
go to the
break.
initiative. I want to talk
Yep.
about your initiative that you guys have.
Yeah.
And we're talking with Michael Burns and Santo Dettore of Hobbs Brook Management, and we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
Rick Kaplan and Eric Wilson, right here on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
Listen, are you living in a condo or co-op? Do you have difficulty receiving deliveries from UPS, FedEx, or your pharmacy when you're not home? Well, there's a solution. Video Doorman. It's a security system with live on-call operators for condos and co-ops that receives packages when you're out, stores them in a safe package room, and then notifies you about your delivery. They can even handle dry cleaning, pickup, and delivery. But there's more. If you come home late at night and don't feel safe, just press the Video Doorman key fob, and the Video Doorman operator will greet you by name and escort you right up to your floor. He can see you and speak to you and handle any potential problem. And Video Doorman costs only about $1 a day. Call Video Doorman at 888-697-3630 or visit videodoorman.com to receive a free building evaluation. That number again is 888-697-3630. Call now, feel safer, and never miss a delivery again.
New England Real Estate Journal Radio.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with Eric Wilson, and we're talking with Michael Burns and Santo
Yep,
Dettore.
Yeah.
Did I do that right?
You got it. You got it.
Of Hobbs Brook Management, and we're going to talk a little bit about the solar. Is this a brand new thing that the company started? The solar panels?
This is our first solar project, correct?
And so this is only on one building so far.
Yes, but we have plans to do more with upcoming projects. 275 Wyman Street. When we do complete that, then there's already a program in place to start that.
But this is just the next step in the initiative you guys started like a few years back, right? And I know you were talking off air a little bit. You guys have this thing called Green Team meetings. How did that first become, getting into this sustainability?
Basically, we with the Green Team meeting, we would try to find out what's the next big step. Like I said, a lot of it, came from, tenant requests. We started off with recycling. When can we recycle? What can we recycle? How often? What's your program on that? So, once sustainability became an issue, people were reading, articles in paper, watching things on TV. We would get those requests. So, in order to stay ahead of the curve, we started the Green Team, and like you say, recycling was there. What's next? Solar. Wind's very expensive, so we went after the low hanging fruit.
Right.
We have the structure in place, which is a parking garage. It's precast concrete, and it was actually set on the lot perfectly at this facing the sun, so it worked out very well.
And is that south facing?
It's facing southeast.
Southeast
Yeah,
facing.
so-
Okay. Nice.
So
And-
now you're putting it on this garage.
Right.
Do you also have, I know because a lot of garage now are putting in the electric charging stations for vehicles. Is that also part of that?
So around campus between Waltham and Norwood, we have 20 dual station car charging stations. So 2 cars can charge per station. So right now, between all the buildings we own in Massachusetts, about 40 cars can charge at any one
Wow.
time.
You guys are really ahead of the curve.
Well, you're taking all this information from your tenants or future
Well,
tenants.
tenants. I mean, I think when LEED really became the standard for building buildings and new tenant spaces, I mean, Mike, how long? Was that 10 years ago when that all came out?
Yeah.
And I
10,
think that
15.
a lot of people at first thought that wasn't going to take, but now you can't build a new building without at least gaining LEED Silver certification. It's just, I don't think it's good press to do it. No one does it anymore.
Right.
And beyond silver, there is gold and platinum. And I think the first LEED Platinum building, was about 10 years ago. That really took hold, and I think that was one of the first signs that it was here to stay. Between sustainability, green practices, not only in the way that you recycle, but also in the way that you build your buildings and energy efficiency.
It's so weird, isn't it? Always that way.
Well,
Nothing's going to take.
Yeah, but
This
we're
isn't here. I mean,
finding
always
that
less.
the green practices are in the. It was thought to be a long time before you would recoup any of your cost. But now it's not that way. Some developers told us 5 years they start seeing a return.
Yeah, the return is pretty good, especially where we're getting RFPs from brokers saying, they want the green. So, the rent that we're generating almost immediately is part of that ROI.
Right.
We're getting, try to, like Santo said, to try to build a building around here that's not LEED certified, it's crazy because the tenants want it.
Right. And what is the ROI that you guys receive from just the parking garage at this point? I know there's more in future that'll change all that, but right now, what did you see that you were saying, okay, this is only the first of many steps? And it obviously had to be successful, or you wouldn't have continued forward.
Yeah,
Correct?
absolutely. So there are 2 garages at 404 Wyman Street where the solar array is, and so it's technically, we classify it as one system, but it's 2 arrays on 2 garages, the north and the south garage. And to take a step back, the bottom line benefit to us is the amount of energy that we have to buy from the grid. On average, theoretically, the building is going to consume the same amount of electricity on a yearly basis. On an annual basis, our building, for example, consumes about 6 megawatts or 6 million kilowatt hours of energy a year. Now, our solar array will now offset the amount that we need to buy from NSTAR. So before, where we needed to buy the total 6 million kilowatt hours of energy on a yearly basis, that solar array now pushes that number up. The building is still consuming the same amount of electricity,
Right.
but a portion of that now comes from the sun and not from NSTAR.
Okay. And how long did that project take to put up?
Probably 5 months, August
Yeah.
to December, January.
Yeah.
And
all
did you
told.
lose parking spaces on the
Yes.
top? So you sacrificed parking spaces for this system?
Well, during construction, I don't think maybe in total because of the columns. So it's long span steel columns. And Mike can talk about the construction a little more, but maybe in total lost 6 or 7 parking spaces from steel columns.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing too.
Nothing drastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's plenty of parking at that building anyways, so.
All right.
Now I have a question because me and Corey,
Corey and I,
uh,
you're welcome.
Corey and I, and my editor, we were talking about this yesterday because Tesla has a new car that they're going to be putting out, and these charging stations. The cost of charging a car, and can the solar panel be the sole charging part of that?
So Tesla does do that, and I mean, they do that with solar arrays, and their gas stations with the canopies have the solar arrays on top. Our solar arrays aren't directly fed into our car charging stations because our car charging stations are basically on the grid as a light bulb, right? It's not any heavier or doesn't draw any more energy than a bunch of lights would. So they're not directly tied into each other, but it's hard to say where the energy exactly goes to once it's into the electrical breakers in the building. But some of the energy that's tied into our building from the car charging stations, I would say, by chance would definitely be coming from the sun.
Now, how long a process is it for one of those to charge a car?
So with our 240-volt car charging stations, it's about any car on the market. The Tesla charges the fastest, probably about an hour. But even something like a Nissan Leaf or a hybrid, at the most, would be 4 hours.
So when they come in and they put their car in that parking garage and charge the car at that station, after that car is charged, are they got to come back and then move it to a regular parking spot?
I think what we found is that the EV community of drivers is a community. They're in it together, and I don't think they're in it for the parking spots. I think they're in it for their cars. And so the way that these apps work now is cars and our charging stations send our customers an email, a notification, and a text message on their phone saying, your car is going to be done in 20 minutes. You should move it to a different spot to let it open for someone else, because you're right. When you're at work for 8 hours a day, your car's fully charged way before that. So
Right.
I think that it is a community thing. We don't force anyone to move their cars, but I think that, like I said, we found that their community fosters this environment of, if someone else needs to use it, they're very great about it. They're in it together.
What do you guys? I'm trying to get a mental image of your solar panels. Are they elevated? You said steel columns straight up, vertical off the top, rather than, it's not like the fields you see when you drive into Boston up 93.
No, it stands high up
Okay.
above the parking garage. And the other part of that, the other benefit of having that, it's almost like a roof over your parking garage. Now you have another
canopy.
layer
Right.
of covered parking. So before, where if the garage is full and it was pouring out, you'd be like,
And do they have to worry about snow buildup on those?
we do. It's factored in.
Okay.
It's the snow load into the steel.
All right. Does it? I was wondering, as the sun moves, does the panel move as well? Does it, turn like a roof, like a triangle?
No, it's fixed in place.
Okay. Shows you what I know about solar panels. And what is the timetable you're looking at moving this forward throughout the rest of your properties?
So this summer is going to start the construction on 275 Wyman Street's garage. They have a 5-story garage, and we're building a canopy array exactly the same to the one we have at 404 on top of that. And then there's some buildings down the road where we find opportunities when it's not going to be disturbing to tenants, that we can find some time to, there are more parking garages that we have, and if, the money works out and the financials work out and it makes sense feasibly for the energy, then we're going to do as many as we can.
So it's been beneficial.
Absolutely.
Right from the first building.
Absolutely.
Now, so there's any chance of doing other technology changes besides just the solar, or energy, changing the form of the energy?
There has been talk of what's called a microgrid.
Mm-hmm.
And so the concept of a microgrid is when, through multiple alternative and renewable energy sources, you create your own grid, where if one goes down, you don't have to worry about it because you have others. It would be a solar, it would be a wind component, and then it would be a steam component. An example of this is in Kendall Square. I think it's 100 Kendall Square. It's the Genzyme. I think it's Genzyme building.
Yeah, the Genzyme building.
They are the only platinum building in Massachusetts, or they were the first. I don't know if they're the only anymore, but they were the first. And they are zero emissions because they have steam, solar, and the combination of that allows them to not only have zero emissions, but if there was ever a Hurricane Sandy, Superstorm Sandy, something like that, where the city was offline, they could create energy on their own, and that's sort of what that. And I think that our campus, it might be a little too early now, but as we continue to grow in some of the other properties that we own around the state, that kind of initiative could make sense. We've explored it.
So in other words, you cut out the electric company completely.
Not completely. I think that it's more in the event of a disaster, you have the ability to stay fully operational.
Would it make sense to have your own, like they have these solar farms? If someone owns a lot of property, would it make sense to have something like that?
I think that would, if we had a bunch of land that was unused, I think we would probably develop a building and then rent it and put solar on top of it.
Yeah, so that's my question. So
Makes more sense.
you've said that you've both done put two second garages in the works now, or in the planning stages, about to be done this summer. is it only the garages so far and not the buildings? And you don't lease that space to like another solar company that's looking to, it's straight all in-house.
So Mike was actually a part of the design process about whether we were going to do it on the roofs or on the garage. I wasn't in that process so much, but how did that work between the roof and the garage?
Between the roof, we would have to basically bolt steel to the top of the steel in the building that's there now, which meant cutting like 1,000 holes in the roof membrane, and we said that would be crazy. That, you know, how do you chase those leaks? Mm-hmm. So that's when the garage became an option that we wouldn't really affect anybody out there. Mm-hmm. We would just be bolting to the top of the steel.
Are the
that's out
buildings
there
in the
now.
future planned now, or is that still the same? You've told you can figure out that issue.
If we could, you know, if we're going to build something that didn't have a parking garage and it was the only way to go, we would probably take a look at how we'd construct that roof. You know, make it part of the building rather than just an afterthought.
From the architect's design, I
Right,
think.
from day
What
one.
about like green roofs? Where they're like you know, like living roofs. Is that what they call them? Green roofs?
Yeah.
Where they're like
green
plant-
spaces.
plant-
like plants and trees
Yeah,
up top
it's-
there, stuff like
it's-
that.
yeah.
I don't even know what
keeps-
your roofs look like. Is they flat? Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that you
Flat
could
white membrane which reflects the
sun.
sun.
Yeah.
So. But the green roof would be for a lead point if you needed it.
Right.
It'll keep the roof a little bit cooler too because
Right.
the
And
plants
where
would
is
take
all
the-
of your? What are yours all in the lead areas? Like the lead classes? Are you silver? Are all your buildings there, or some?
We're anywhere from certified to gold. Not, you know, we've been trying to chip away at it because it is expensive.
Right. Of course.
But, you know, if we get the opportunity to do it, we'll
Anything worth doing is expensive.
try. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
'Cause
what
someone
about-
needs to make money
What
on
about skylights? They still use the skylights in a lot of these buildings because I know every building that I've ever been in that had skylights, weather like we had this year, it's always been a major issue.
Yeah. We do have them. But some, you know, like we haven't put them in. The big atriums are kind of a waste of money at this point. Like
Yeah.
if you think of, you know, going to like 56 State Street and the atrium is, you know, 6-8 floors and it's beautiful, you know.
Right.
It's a way to light that up.
Yeah. So that's
And it's kind of gone away.
yeah. So that's everyone's changing their thought on that. It looks nice, but
Oh, yeah.
is it really cost effective?
And where do you see any super changes in the next couple of years for the next solar panels? You know, because as you know, when we first started the solar game, the Green Initiative, these things were huge to capture sunlight. Now they get them down to little shingles. I mean, pretty soon they have like the little lights that you can get along your walkways. Do you see if they upgrade that stuff? Is that something you guys plan? Like, okay, next 3 years they may have a better technology that we have to scrap this whole thing and redo it again. Is that ever thought in your process to try to stay ahead?
It absolutely is. One of the good things about our solar array is that these panels, each panel, there's about 2,000 of them on between the two arrays, and they are completely modular. We have a system that monitors the panels down to the panel, and so we have a computer system that shows us if there's one panel, you know, that a bird flew into and it's not operating anymore, we can replace that one panel. And so as the efficiency increases with new technology, you know, it might make sense in 10 or 15 years to replace them all. And we still have the steel there. We don't have to change that at all.
All
We
right.
put new panels in that are more efficient because the technology, you know, it's an exponential curve.
So it's not like Christmas tree lights, is what you're saying. When
Very
one
different.
goes out, you have to search the whole line. It tells you like what through like your iPad or whatever software. It tells you,
Yeah.
hey,
Cell
you
phone.
know,
Each individual panel.
E3 like a grid map.
Exactly.
This-
That's
really?
exactly what it's like, yeah.
Nice.
It would be a graphic display.
Right. That
To
seems.
say this one's failed.
And you can
Now-
see how much energy is being from each one if any are underperforming and there's a shadow from a tree or something.
And is that an internet service for you guys? Like something. When I say intranet, I mean like only your company has access to the software that monitors your. Not like another company that put it in. They also don't have access just in case someone misses it. It's just you guys have that.
Yeah, there's probably 4 of us looking at it.
And is the software designed specifically to your company?
Yeah, for our solar array specifically.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, all of these efforts, now this is helping you retain tenants or even bring new tenants in?
Yeah,
I mean, I think being, you know, ahead of the curve, when tenants move, they move for a long period of time. You know, an office space will turn over once every 7 years, 7 to 10 years now. And so if I'm the CEO of a company and I only want to make this move once every 10 years, I want to make sure that all my boxes are checked for everything that I want. And so when we're ahead of the curve as far as efficiency, sustainability, I think that it just makes it the most appealing so that we can check the most boxes for all of the CEOs out there to make the most attractive office space.
Nice.
Well, we got to go to a break, and we're talking with Michael Burns and Santo Dettore of Hobbs Brook Management, and we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
Rick Kaplan is right here on the Money Matters Radio Network.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with Eric Wilson. We're coming to a close of another
Fantastic
great
show.
And we've been talking with Michael Burns and Santo Dettore of Hobbs Brook Management, and how you guys gave us quite a bit of information about some of your properties and some of the new technologies. If someone's interested, maybe even leasing or finding out about Hobbs Brook Management, how would they get a hold of you?
I'd say the best is probably our website, hobbsbrook.com.
I'm going to be honest with you. Huge fan of Santo. He didn't even use the old www. Most people, when we ask, like, hey, how can people, they're like, well, you can email me at, or check my website at www.
Yeah, but
forward
see, now
slash.
someone in my age group, they're not.
You see,
I don't know what
but
that
here's
means.
the thing: in today's day and age, you don't have to type in www anymore. You just type in hobbsbrook.com, and that's it. And Google goes, I know what you mean. You want to go on the World Wide Web, which is what www
What if
means.
you want to only go on the internet?
Well, Rick, I know Eric's big into Twitter, and we're at Hobbs Brook on Twitter, and we got
Follow
all
them
kinds
there.
of great stuff going on there.
Nice. It's very smart. Look at Twitter plugs. I like
That's
this guy. I
right.
told you. He knows we're in the same
There's
game.
Twitter and
Facebook,
Facebook.
yeah.
Yeah. I saw that. Because I was on their website. I
Right.
did go to Hobbs
We did too.
Brook.
Because we really wanted to make sure we knew, more about what it is you guys did, other than we understood you guys were doing this solar initiative and this big new project you guys just finished. But we wanted to make sure we knew everything other than,
Right,
just the
and
tidbits.
that's when I found out that you had also the hotel, a lot of properties throughout the country, not just in the Boston market. And, when we went to the break, we were talking about the Boston market
We were.
and how, where does it go from Boston? We'll make this quick because we're coming to the end of the show. But, one of the things we are always asking a lot of our guests that are in property is, you have the major city, but you can only put so much there.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have not just the amount of people that are living in there, but the infrastructure. It just can't handle all of that. Where do you go from there? Do you go outside into the suburbs?
What's the next hot spot is what we like to know outside of Boston.
Yeah. So, what's your opinion on that?
I think the hot spot is right at the Cambridge Reservoir, right on 95, Wyman Street.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right
Oh,
where his
that-
buildings
so
are.
everyone should
No, but
be moving into their
when he was
building.
saying, but yes, I would agree. I-95 and Route 90, right where they cross, exit 20, was it 23, 24,
Yeah.
25? Anywhere up this window is gonna be.
on 95, I would say anywhere from Burlington and Woburn down to Westwood is
Nice.
you see cranes in the sky all the time.
Mhm.
Anywhere that's in close proximity to that highway, people want to be close to where they live, and if it's easy and accessible from the highway, people are going to build there, and people are going to move their offices there. So I think that as redevelopment happens along the highway, I think that it's going to keep.
Well, you might be
moving.
right, because next week we have New England Development on the show, and they're building a enormous mall. I think it's an outdoor mall with apartments and
A nice
assisted
little
living.
work-live
Yeah,
play
right
type
off
deal.
the University Ave. I mean,
Nice little live, work,
Yeah.
play,
Yep.
entertain
The old jam
yourself.
plant.
yeah, right at the train station.
Yeah.
It's
too.
weird that you think of highways much like the old riverways. That's where all the, wherever those two major highways connect is where you're going to have major people. It's very easy.
But now, what do you think about places like Lawrence and Revere? Because those are areas that have really nothing has been going on there, but now all of a sudden there's starting to be some companies picking up, the properties and
It's really funny that you say that. I went to a presentation from a Northeastern professor a couple weeks ago, and Lawrence and Brockton are the two fastest growing towns in Massachusetts right now. And you think to yourself, well, when was the last time I was in Lawrence or Brockton? But especially in Lawrence, all the old mill buildings are being redeveloped into offices. It's I think people are always looking ways to save money. They're not too far away from highway. The property and the buildings are already there. And when you redevelop a loft space, I know New Balance has a huge office up in Lawrence. I think that it makes sense. The buildings are already there, and the stats speak for themselves.
Plus, those mill buildings give you that.
The old
what's that?
mill building.
That feel like the old like. I'm from the 90s. What are they? I don't know the word they use for it.
Vintage.
Mustic. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Rustic, not mustic.
Yeah,
Mustic would be.
mustic.
Hey, it could be if it's not
That
cleaned,
sounds
right?
like something I would say.
Yeah. Hey, I was about to say a different terrible term. That's awesome stuff. But we are definitely coming to a close of the show. We want to make sure that everyone knows April 23rd, come join us in Portsmouth, New Hampshire for our Cocktails and Conversations event. And if you guys haven't been to one of the Cocktails and Conversations event, you definitely want to go.
That's right.
It's everybody in the industry, not just specific to brokers, but developers,
You got
finance,
insurance people,
lawyers.
the whole.
You should never throw out insurance people. They, they got their.
I had 'em
Hey,
because
they got their
this-
group.
the
Okay.
subsidy of one.
I think they're already taken. I think they're wearing that ring. But yeah, we really appreciate you guys coming on, enlightening us, putting together a great show for us, and
Yeah, and if you have any updates on any projects, feel free to
Yeah.
give us a call. Let us know what's going on. We'd love to hear about projects that are a success and that have new technology on the buildings.
Absolutely. We'll keep in touch. Thanks, guys.
definitely.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. That was Michael Burns and Santo Dettore.
Dettore,
Dettore.
Santo Dettore.
Yeah, I had to screw it up one of these days. One of these times.
One of these
Everyone
days.
does.
From Hobbs Brook Management. And Eric,
Rick.
you know what? I think this deal is done.